So Chani, how do you feel about seeing the chapters lose 60 kilos collectively?
Whoa!
We lost a family member.
Yeah, it's actually amazing because before this, I know they all did it individually in their own time, but before all of this, my eating habits were very different to theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So even before I joined RNT, my eating habits were very different. So now coming home and seeing you guys eat more like how I eat is really nice. I remember before, back in the day, after a meal or after dinner, even if it was like 10, 11 p.m, you guys would always get a dessert.
Yeah.
And you'd always say, do you want one? And I'm like, no, how are they able to eat a dessert at 11 p.m? And then you'd not only get one, but maybe three, and then share them. And for me, I was like, how are they doing this? And
Baileys and
yeah, all the alcohol
Baileys.
would come out, and the lifestyle was completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just completely changed.
Yeah.
And it feels so refreshing because we're all on the same page with how we eat and how we feel, our relationship with food. And for me, it's really good because Niall will get to experience that as well.
Yeah,
Because I've
that's
always
right,
thought I don't want him to have like an unhealthy relationship, and it's really nice that he's able to see how you can have a good relationship with food, enjoy food, and it's not all about the quantity, it's just more about taking it in and feeling good about it. So yeah, it's been amazing. Good to see.
Okay, so we'll start off with Chet. Let's take us back, what is almost 2 years now, almost 2 years ago, to the summer of 2020. What was your trigger moment to start this transformation journey for you?
So we just become pregnant, and I think with lockdown in place, it was, the diet went out the window. I was putting on a lot of weight. I think a lot of people were, to be honest. I think a lot of people were in the same boat, and I was just thinking ahead. I was thinking, well, with my son or daughter at the time, we didn't know, with my kid being born, I just wanted to be in a better place. I wanted to have more energy. I wanted to be in a place where I could look after my child better, give them the life that they deserve, look after my wife. So for me, it was quite important to sort of get into shape or get into a better place, and essentially just sort of lead by example as well, so I can show my child a better lifestyle and a better way to live, so they're not struggling with weight issues and XYZ going forward.
Yeah, and when you were gaining weight, like what was going through your mind when you were gaining weight?
Well,
how did that happen?
Nothing was happening. Nothing was going through my mind because it became so natural, and it was sort of a slow process over a 10, 15-year period.
Yeah.
I wasn't actually aware it was happening. I was putting on weight so slowly, nothing was changing in my brain, if that kind of makes any sense. Until one day you kind of just wake up and you're like, oh, what's going on? My knees are hurting, my back's hurting, I'm running out of breath when I get to the top of the staircase. And that's when stuff the reality kind of sets in.
Yeah.
It's scary as me, to be honest.
And when were you just like, right, I've got to change it?
Well, the thing is, I think like most people, you're somewhat aware of it and you're trying to change it. You're going to the gym, but the problem is you don't always have the information or the right sort of practice or the right sort of methods involved, so nothing happens. You're sort of wasting time trying to solve the weight issue, and instead of losing it, you're just putting it on.
Yeah,
and
that whole death by 1,000 cuts thing, which you mentioned, is very common, where you gain a pound here, pound there, you go from 1 chocolate bar to 2 chocolate bars. And next thing you know, 10 years gone and 20 kilos been gained. And you didn't really realise it until it's too late.
20 is an understatement.
Well, just as the headline, what's been the total loss? At the highest and then the lowest, and then obviously where you settled.
The max, so I started at 97 kg. The lowest I actually got to was 70.2, so close to, what was that, 27 kg?
Yeah.
At one point it was 27 kg, yeah.
Wow.
That's the best.
And then Pooja, at the same time, what was going, how was your journey unraveling at the same time as Chet's with the lot? So you were obviously pregnant. So.
Yeah, so when he started, obviously I was just looking at him thinking, wow, he's doing so well.
Yeah.
I saw how determined he was. I saw the amount of support he got from his coaches as well. And my thought was, I'm getting bigger and you're getting smaller. I can't wait until I've given birth and kind of start this journey with you. And I think that's one of the biggest driving factors for us, because we've been able to do it as a family as well, which has been really good for us. I think when he initially started, I was kind of waiting for you to start and say, I don't want to do this anymore. But he was just so driven, And again, the program was, everything was just so supportive, everything was in place. And every time I would think, maybe he'll get fed up with the food. He's like, no, I can eat anything I want. I can do anything I want. And he just kind of found a way to kind of keep going and fitting it all in. And it was really inspiring, to be fair.
Yeah, so there's a weird thing going on. You're getting bigger for the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Michelle was like losing weight rapidly.
Yeah, I literally said that to him. I was like, I'll get bigger, you're getting smaller. I can't wait until we're kind of both in a better place.
Yeah, and what about you pre-pregnancy? What sort of place were you in pre-pregnancy?
I went, 2016, just before we got married, that's when I started my fitness journey. So at that point I was really fit. I was going to the gym like 4 or 5 times a week. I was really strong because that's what my goal was, to just be strong. And then after we got married, over the years, it's exactly what you said. We moved into Evington, there's takeaways. I just ate and I ate and I ate and I got bigger and bigger. And then just before lockdown, I was going CrossFit, and then lockdown happened and I just stopped exercising, I stopped doing everything. And then I got pregnant. I thought, oh yeah, this is it. I'm just going to eat.
Yeah.
And I put on so much weight over pregnancy as well. And then after I gave birth, kept on eating and eating and eating, and I think you're just not aware of how much you snack on throughout the day. I think there's a part of me in the back of my brain. Oh, I should really do something. I should really get going, get to the gym, and then unless you have that motivation and that push, sometimes it just doesn't happen. And again, as I said, that's why you need a structured program sometimes, and have someone to go through it with you as well, to kind of just say, actually, no, this is enough now. You have to just stop.
So when you were gaining weight pre-pregnancy, and gaining weight through pregnancy, and then after pregnancy, what was was it just mindless snacking?
Yes. So I grew up very snacky. My family snacks a lot, and that's where I get this really bad relationship with food. So when I was younger, I was really anorexic. I was really thin, and I actually had a really bad relationship with food, where I'd actually not eat for 3 days, and then on the 4th day I'd just eat loads of food, and then wouldn't eat again. My dad would call me a camel. And then that one day that just switched, and I think it was when I was in uni, and I started associating stress eating with exams and things like that. And every time I started getting stressed, I started eating. So then I kind of tipped on the other side, where obviously as the older you get, the more stresses come along, and I just kept on eating and eating. So I never had a good relationship with food since, as far as I can remember, really.
Yeah. Was there certain moments in your day or in your life that would make you want to eat more?
Yeah. So I think again, evenings, and I think that's a big thing for everyone, where you kind of I can easily get through the day because when you're at work, for example, you just eat what you take, make sure you don't spend money, and then you come home and you open your snack cupboard and there's just so much food there. There's been times where I've not bothered cooking. I got into the habit, it was just before lockdown, where I'd order maybe 4 or 5 takeaways in a week. A lot of takeaways. I hardly cooked. And I'm the kind of person, when we met, we used to love cooking. But I got into this awful habit where we just would get takeaways all the time. And I couldn't see the weight going on, if that makes sense. You're just in denial for so long until I suppose it's too late.
Yeah. And what was your too late moment?
It was when I was pregnant. Because I always thought when I was pregnant, I'd be the person who'd be going to the gym, I'd be working out, and I think, again, I would say, lockdown didn't help. I can't blame lockdown. It was my own lifestyle. Because nothing stopped me from working out at home. Nothing stopped me from going for walks. But that was my moment where I just felt, I remember telling Chet one day, I was like, I'm just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think I was crying, actually. I was like, I don't feel good. My knees hurt so much. My back hurts. I can't even walk without getting out of breath. I was in such a bad place. And I was like, so he literally said, it's okay. As soon as you give birth, when you're in a good place, when you're ready, we'll talk about it then. But I think it was when I was pregnant, and I think it was the point where I just felt like I couldn't do anything about it. And so it was always like, I'm going to get on the program as soon as possible, really.
Yeah, how did you feel in those moments?
Oh, I was in tears. I was in tears literally a lot of the time, right? Because I'd never been that big, and more than anything, I'd never felt that weak. So I was always really strong. Like before we got married, I was like deadlifting 70 kilos, I was squatting 150. Like I was strong, right? And I was always
Squatting 150?
yeah. I was strong,
Oh.
right? I'm not even joking. I used to go gym so much,
Yeah.
and then it just over time, and you just don't realize. And it was the I can't even explain how awful it felt. I felt so, what's the word, like
Helpless, like
helpless.
almost, yeah.
I felt so helpless because I was just so weak, and like I'd never had those pains before. It wasn't a nice feeling at all. So I was like, I can't go on like this. Yeah.
Wow, how do you feel looking in the mirror? Both of you.
Then I never looked in the mirror.
Really?
I literally wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, you say look in the mirror, but all you need to do is sort of go on our social medias or go into our photo galleries, and you'll see there's a patch from maybe 2018 to 2020 where there's hardly any pictures.
Yeah,
'cause
we just
we
wouldn't
wouldn't
take
take
pictures, would
selfie.
we?
Like you don't consciously do it, but
Yeah.
subconsciously, consciously, you're not going to take a picture.
Yeah.
You get ready, you go out, and you come back and you're like, oh yeah, we never took any pictures. Oh, we never. We'll do it next time.
Yeah.
But that was probably a telling sign for me as well. Like looking back at our social medias or whatever, there just isn't that many pictures of us.
Yeah.
Like 1 or 2 years after we got married, there's almost like a sort
Yeah,
of a
big
void
gap,
in our
isn't there?
gallery.
But there's loads of pictures of food.
There's loads of pictures of food. Yeah, exactly. We take there'll be a picture of a plate of what we're eating. But not of us.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But more than that, I think when that photo opportunity arose as well, so it's almost like that same kind of looking in the mirror. You felt uncomfortable. You felt uncomfortable. You didn't necessarily want to be in the photo either when there was a group shot or something. Or you'd be hiding in the back.
Yeah, I'd always
Yeah,
go. I always
the
go creep in the back. Yeah.
It was true. Yeah, it happened.
How did you find, so for Chet, how did you find like overhauling your habits? Because you kind of flipped the switch. There was no like looking, there was no like middle ground. You just went all in, which is great. How did you find sort of overhauling habits at the same time Pooja's pregnant? She wasn't doing it.
No, do you know what? To be fair, what I remember was, I think when she was pregnant, of course she needed X amount of support, but the support wasn't so bad that I couldn't fully like commit to the program and also help her. But at the same time, I know she was struggling, but she was coming out on walks with me. Yes, I walked her slow down a little bit. Not maybe throughout the whole pregnancy, but definitely at the early stages she was coming out with me, we were walking. I think that sort of helped her a little bit, that helped me a little bit. We would catch up on our days and whatnot. I think it's a weird one because at the beginning it is a bit of a culture shock, like, oh wow, I've got to do all of this. But sooner or later, once you start hitting your milestones, once you start hitting the target set, it becomes normal. Like I was cooking and eating what I would normally cook and eat, but those tweaks, less oil, less this, a portion control of rice, as opposed to just 3 bowls of it, for example. So essentially for me, it didn't feel like a lot had changed once I sort of got flowing. And I think that moment where Pooja was saying you were sort of ready for me to say, oh, I'm going to stop this.
Yeah.
It didn't happen because it actually got easier and it got better. And even after I finished my year, it's hard to go back to eating what I was eating before, if that kind of makes any sense. You sort of addicted or stuck to the food that you were cooking or I was cooking on the journey. And that's really helped me. So I think finding what works for you is very, very important for long-term stability.
You found your lifestyle solution, haven't you?
Essentially, yeah, to a certain degree, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then Pooja, when you started yours, knowing you'd seen Chet lose 25 kilos, so there'd probably been some sort of changes in that household, maybe,
Yeah.
or at least for Chet.
Yes.
How did you find starting this journey with, I think now was what, 6 months at the time?
Yeah.
Maybe 7 months?
Yes, 7.
So how did you manage sort of like the build up to it and then juggling it with a newborn baby?
Okay, so I was actually really scared before I started because I know what I'm like and I've never been able to control my food.
Yeah.
So it was a big challenge. I said to him that I don't know I'm going to do this. We had a chat, we sat down and had a chat and I said I'm going to need a lot of support at the start. And if you feel like I'm not doing well, please just tell me the truth. Just push me as much as you can. he helped me sort out my shopping list and kind of got me prepped for everything before I started the program. We sat down and we talked about how we're going to fit in the gym sessions and the cardio and things like that. He was just so supportive, and I think more than anything it really helps to have supportive people around you. And as well, with Niall being so young, it was just a matter of planning things in and just making sure he got the time that he needed and I get the time that I need, and also we get the time we need as well. And yeah, we'll just sit down maybe on we use our journeys to the gym to kind of catch up on the day, to catch up on like what we need to do and just like divide things out. So whatever works for couples or families who are on the journey, and it's just about communicating.
So what was if you broke it down, like how did you go to the gym? How did Chet go to the gym?
So
it was in meal prep.
So what we did is we fit in a like set slot for shopping. That was the most important thing, and a batch cooking day. So our Sundays, still now, every Sunday morning we get up, we do a food shop. So by Saturday we have a list ready. We do our food shop, we come back, we batch cook. So we make sure we don't make plans on a Sunday, or we kind of
you build in that slot, just those bits before we run off and do something else.
Exactly. So our food's ready for when we go into the week. And then on Monday I go dance. He looks after Niall. Tuesday we go gym together. Wednesday we do a family evening.
How do you go gym together?
So on a Tuesday, either my dad will pick Niall up or drop Niall off to my parents' house, and then we will just travel to the gym. We'll do our own workouts.
That's that figure.
And then we'll go get him on the way home.
Okay.
So we'll do that, and then Thursday we do gym again.
So
rinse
and repeat. Rinse and repeat.
And then we would do Saturday gym,
if we can get.
And then I do my cardios on a Sunday.
Got it.
So that would be the only extra that I'll go into.
So a lot of new mums like really struggle with sort of that postnatal period, whether it's with their body weight, their sense of identity, their confidence as a person. They don't look the same.
No.
You don't feel the same. How did you? Where were you at? And then what was the journey sort of on improving that situation from where you were?
So I think this is a really big thing, because after I gave back, your body does completely change. It does completely change, and it's kind of finding out like the things that you used to wear before may not look good, may look good, and I think it is a really difficult time for a new mum, because you're juggling a newborn and obviously you're trying to work on yourself. And I think at that point, it's really important to kind of set small goals in place. So don't kind of turn around and say, oh, I'm going to run a marathon next week. The best example would be this program. My plan was I'll get through phase 1 first. That's it. That's all I was concentrating on when I started. I'm just going to get through the first 2 weeks, and if it works, great, we'll continue. If it doesn't work, we'll sit down and see how else we can approach it. And that's where the support with the coaches comes in, support from friends and family. And I would again say that to any new mum, take all the support you can get, because I was never the kind of person who would ask for help. And I think that was a big downfall for me at the start. So just be honest with yourself, I'd say, and if you don't like the way you are and your body, then even if you have a small win, it's a win. You don't have to go all in to kind of see a difference. Even the small changes that you make, again, as Chet said, like less oil or just kind of not snacking as much, it makes such a big difference. And I think, again, social media is such a big factor in it, where at the moment there's a lot of kind of pressure about accepting your body for the way it is and things like that. But there are so many mums who aren't happy with the way they are, and they shouldn't feel like, I think that's a big thing about me as well. When I started my journey, I never really talked about the fact that I was on RNT or trying to lose weight, because I felt social media really pressured me into wanting to accept my body for the way it was. But actually I wanted to be me, and I wanted to lose the weight for me. And obviously my family and the future, and as Chet said, be more active and provide a better and healthy lifestyle. So don't let anyone stop you from
I think
do
that
what
whole
you want.
movement is complete BS. Like,
Yeah, I
so
agree.
just accept that you've gone fat. Like, just
100%.
accept it.
Yeah.
Accept your body, love your body. But
Yeah.
the truth is, like, self-love and self-care comes from the change in how you treat your body.
Yeah.
If you're saying, oh yeah, I love my body, but then you're stuffing your face, you
Yeah.
clearly don't, because
No.
you're abusing it.
Exactly.
But that's not a popular thing to say.
No, exactly. And as I said, like, I did feel quite embarrassed to say it at the start, but now I'm not. I think what I've realised is it's all kind of, it's very toxic to pretend that you're happy with something when you're not.
Mhm.
So actually be true to yourself and just go and do it. Just, yeah.
Did you find like you were in a sense of like identity crisis?
100%. I like, especially at the start, you put yourself 100% into your child, right? And before you know it, your weeks have gone, your months have gone, and one day you just kind of stop and think, like, who actually am I? I've not been to work in so long. I don't have a social life right now. I the only thing I do is, you know, talk to my little baby all the time. No,
Doesn't
it's
talk
true.
back.
literally, like I did feel like at a point where I didn't know who I was. My clothes obviously didn't fit me.
Yeah.
I didn't know where to go, what to do. My friends weren't in the same boat as me. None of them like had kids, so they didn't understand. So it is a really different time of your life, and I think it's really important to be aware of that and just make the little changes that you can, and find help where you can, I would say.
Yeah, you'll find that support is always around.
Yeah.
And it's about taking, don't want to say taking advantage of it, but using it and accepting the support where it's given to you, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, I think,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, speaking of support, one of the key members of the support system is obviously mum.
Of course.
Yes.
And the timeline's a bit different in that. Pooja, you started October 21, Chet, you were October 2020.
Yep.
And then obviously this year, the big 60 arrived.
Yes.
And Bond decided to start R&T.
Yeah.
It was as a 60th birthday present, which, not many people actually, when you give a gift for something like a transformation, you go one or two ways, right? It's either not going to be looked at bad, or that someone just not going to take it seriously.
No.
But
Yeah.
luckily, took it seriously.
So it's a good
And
thing I did, yeah.
Yeah, and with 6 months into your journey, you just hit your checkpoint before Christmas. What was that? Where were you at? Say maybe May, June time. Obviously, it was in a different way where you weren't looking for something, but still you have to do the work, right? So
Yes.
where were you at sort of 6, 7 months ago with your health, your body, etc.?
Well, I was like 54 kg
Yeah.
that time, June, and then I was eating. I had a bad habit, same as Pooja. Every time because at work, every time I go to work, there's always food in front of us in the staff room. And it's always like puddings and like donuts, and it's just tempting, it's right in front of you. And it's when it's a break time, you just like kind of I'll just walk and just take one, and it's like, but then you realize that you realize that you're eating wrong food, but then you think, oh, it's alright, it's only one, and it's like, but it builds up. It builds up.
Yeah.
But then when I come home after school, after work, I just think, okay, I'll make a cup of tea, a couple of biscuits, on ham, and then as Pooja say, Indian snacks, fried, everything's fried food, it just builds up. So that was quite difficult, yeah.
Was it more of an education thing for you, like not understanding?
Yes, it was. I've learned so much, so how to control, it's like, it's nice, it's like, it feels good, I'm learning so much in this journey, that what to eat, what not to eat, how much to eat, like, it's good. I mean, I can say no, Now there is still loads of donuts in my at my workplace. Every time, the head brings donuts every week. In fact, she brings every time there's a pudding club. Every time there's somebody's birthday, the tables is full of chocolates. Just no savouries, just the sweet things. But no, I just go and pass. I don't, because my colleagues, they bring up as well, plate, you're going to bring some, no thank you, and they know that, only one. I said, no, thank you, I've got my fruit, I've got my yogurt, and they see that every day,
How did you feel about your health and your body about 6, 7 months before starting?
I feel
We-
more energy, like
And
energy.
before, where
Before
was
I
your
was
health and
health,
you
yeah.
know, any health issues, concerns in your mind, or
Yeah, I had the cholesterol. I have a cholesterol as well, so I need to check that as well. Because
yeah,
I did take appointment, but they didn't give me one because nurses are all on strike. So I need to check that as well. So I think it's getting better. I think,
Yeah.
I feel good. I feel really like light, and you know, when I go every Saturday go for jogging, I feel really light, and you know, when I'm running, out of breath. So that feels good. You can tell the difference, you know, when you're running. Before I couldn't even run a line. You know, we do quite a whole round. So it's like 4 or 5 alleyways, you know, on Spin Victoria Park. So I only used to go one and then I used to walk. Go run one, jog one lane, you know. Now I'm going all the way, all
wow.
the way jogging. Yeah.
That's good.
yeah.
Without stopping, yeah.
That's amazing. Because it becomes more and more important every.
Yeah, and it's without out of breath.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I was so happy. You know, I was telling
Maybe a
my
marathon for next year.
no, not there yet. Maybe 10 kg.
Yeah,
Also, like
100%.
your thumbs.
Oh yeah,
getting
my
better.
thumb. Yeah, I had this repetitive pain here, isn't it? So that's gone after doing exercises. Yeah, that one is
Oh, wow.
constant
Nice.
pain. That was. I had 2 different pains
Oh,
here,
nice.
but that one is like when I'm cutting something that is still there. But the other one is completely gone. I was telling this morning, telling me as well. I said, look, I'm doing all that band. I think it's probably that one is helping.
Yeah.
Or I
So
don't
just for the listeners, you're pointing at your wrist, so you had some
Yes.
sort of, is it arthritis in your wrist?
Yeah,
or-
arthritis, yeah. It's
Yeah,
still
pain,
there,
right?
but it's like when I'm cutting or I'm doing lots of cutting, then it comes back.
Right.
But before it was constant, you know, pain,
Oh, wow.
like you can sharp pain, you know, constant, you know, you can feel it, but I just ignore it, just there.
Yeah.
But now I'm alright, you know, it's only when I cut I'd realize, oh, it's hurting, but then I wear my
Yeah.
band and it's okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's the big change.
How have you found starting resistance exercises like bands and body weight? You know, you trained at home.
Yes,
All
I
your
do
workouts.
everything, I
How
don't
have
go
you
to
found-
gym.
How have you found doing exercises there?
So I do 3 times a week.
Yeah.
The exercise, I do 10,000 steps nearly every day because 10,000 is easy for me because at work I just by 12 o'clock I've done my 10,000 because I do not walking. So that's fine, but it's the cardio. I have to do cardio, so that's I do watch videos of on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah.
And I do it on that one. It's a
Yeah.
special Indian bunker, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that helps. Yeah.
And what about getting used to the exercises? How have you
Yeah.
managed to do that? And
Yeah, so at the beginning I didn't know. So my coach, she helped me a lot because I had to
Yeah.
send the videos. So she was saying, yeah, not this way, not this. She was guiding me, so that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I can do without, without her help.
Amazing. What about like Indian food? So obviously your diet was predominantly Indian food, and still is heavily based in Indian food.
No,
Or not? Oh.
no. Only sometimes.
Sometimes. But how's your
yeah.
approach changed to cooking and?
Yeah, I batch cook now.
Yeah.
Before I never used to. Before at the beginning I found very difficult to cook for me and my husband, like Irvin. But then afterwards I learned from these two. He said, Mom, why don't you batch cook, you know? And then they were really supportive as well. They helped me a lot, you know, plan the food. Chetan was helping me plan the food, you know, if I eat this and this, you know, add this, all the. So
Yeah.
that really helped. Yeah, so batch cooking really definitely
Amazing.
helped.
Amazing. What's it been like seeing Mum like go through this journey?
It's been really inspirational, actually. It's been
They inspired me. You
Yeah.
also inspired me. You know, it's
because she's been so strong throughout. Like not strong, but she's found new ways of cooking. She's just kind of gotten on with it, and
Yeah, that bit there, she's gotten on with it. So
Yeah.
for me, it's like, how have you found it? It's almost like, well, at the beginning, we're conscious, we're aware it's happening, we were helping her. I mean, I'm talking maybe the first month and a half. I was trying to call her a couple of times a week. How are you doing? You know, what you're gonna eat? How you're not snacking? How's your exercise? And then I don't know, week 4.5, halfway through the 4th week, I just didn't call you, and I don't think I've called you about your journey since. Really,
Whenever
I've
they
spoken
come,
about it.
Yeah, whenever you
Yeah.
come, you ask.
We ask, we've helped after that, in bits and bobs, but like, as far as I'm concerned, she's not even doing it, but she's doing it. Do you know what I mean? She's just gotten on with
Thank
it,
you
which is
to
great.
all of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Support is important. I think you
Yeah.
get support.
Well, she was like, oh yeah, I think I've hit my checkpoint this week. It was such a blasé thing.
Yeah. What's next?
Just like
Yeah.
getting on with it.
yeah,
There's
she's
no debate.
just turned into life so quickly.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel now?
Feel good, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel good. Definitely.
How have you found like the family dynamic change? Maybe like first as you talk about you as a 3, and then maybe slightly wider. But since going on the journey, how have you found it affect you as a mother, and then as your relationship, and also just the family dynamic in the house?
I think what I like the most is the fact that he likes to walk now, which is good because I've always been a big walker, and he hated it. So now he actually likes to go out, fresh air. So that's quite nice. I like it because we don't just sit there like cabbage out in front of the TV a lot. We cook, we teach Niall to cook. We do like a lot of family activities based on like something active or cooking, things like that. And I was going to say one more thing, I forgot. I like the fact that we batch cook because it frees up so much time for the family.
That was a big thing I was going to mention. It's like at first, at the start of the journey, it feels like, oh, I've got to batch cook, I've got to do this thing, I've got to make time for batch cooking, and it feels like this is going to be something that's going to take up some time. But one day I think I realised, this is way after my journey had finished, Niall was born, Pooja was like halfway through her journey, doing amazing. I sort of realised if I don't batch cook anymore, it's going to completely, like, to cook something different every single day, it's just going to take up more of my time.
Yeah.
So in fact, a lot of the habits that I've learned on the journey are now providing me with more time to sort of do what I want to do, more time to spend with my son, more time to spend with my family. Yeah, it's freed up time, if anything. So in terms of family dynamic, it's actually making it more positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't go back, essentially.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say. It'd be difficult to go back,
Yeah,
to be honest.
100%.
It'd be an effort to go back.
Yeah.
And what about from like a wider perspective?
The wider perspective, what's nice is like, you know, you can all talk about the same sort of stuff. You're all on the same page. Come Christmas, come Diwali, yes, the fried food is there, but the few of us who are sort of conscious about it are making the right moves, and you can see it, you talk about it, and like I said, it just provides that extra support and help, and it's just nice. That kind of makes sense to see other people who are on the same page as yourself. It just has an extra dynamic, another social aspect, essentially, to be honest. And now that my mum's training as well, we can speak to her about that. So it's like...
And there's no snacks when we come here as well.
They're always looking in the cupboard. He said, "Oh, mom, there's no chocolate." I said, "No, nothing there, not anything. Even in the fridge, you know, so you'll find fruit, but not
The little tin with that that's gone.
Oh,
everything's
no.
gone. No biscuits. Even I don't buy biscuits. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. So that's my shopping is like cut down all the junk food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why Niall hates coming here.
So Chet, have you found like, so you've done you're quite a few years into it now, and you've more or less kept most of the weight off.
Yeah.
I believe pretty much in your sweet spot where for the last year or so, I don't really remember what the old Chet looked like. That you kept the weight off really well.
Yeah.
What have been some of the key habits you mentioned batch cooking, but like how have you found socializing, drinking,
So
balance around it?
I've gone back to all of that. So for me, my journey was all split into two. So I had the initial part before I was born, where I did lose the majority of the weight, and the part where after I was born, and that 5-6 months was tough. I didn't lose a lot. I lost, but not much. So whatever habits I kind of picked up during that second half of my journey have sort of carried on throughout the rest of for the last 2 years. The core meals are the core meals in terms of the calories I eat, my protein, everything has pretty much stayed where it is. But of course, now that I'm maintaining, or now that I'm just sort of, I'm not trying to shed loads of weight, I will go out and have a drink. I think just getting older, maybe the friends dynamic has changed. We're doing different things. We're not going out drinking all night. That just doesn't happen anymore, especially with family, kids. So that sort of helped me as well. So just a couple of weeks ago, after a very long time, after almost a decade, I went and played football with my friends, my closest group. That was followed by a drink and a curry, to be fair. But it was a one-off, and it did initially start off with a cardio session. So that's the kind of thing, do you know what I'm trying to say? I think everyone's just trying to get into that sort of sweet spot balance. You could keep the weight off and you can still do what you want to do. And of course the key thing there is moderation. I think moderation, and the other thing, like you mentioned earlier, planning and everything in moderation, and you can control. It's easy to control.
Yeah. Now, Pooja, you're still on your journey to get to where you want to get to.
Yeah.
You're down 25 kilos,
Yes, I am.
and I know you still want a few more to
Yeah.
go. What have you found like the most challenging aspect of getting there? Like, what are the battles you're facing on route to this
Kind
checkpoint
of
for
getting
you?
there. So I would say with a toddler, things are always changing.
Yeah.
And one thing that I found is you have to just take it in your stride. There's no point saying, oh, this is the plan that we've made and you have to stick to it. And if it doesn't work out, don't dwell on it. Just move on, replan.
Yeah.
Because it might not work, but it's okay. It's a journey. It's not a week thing. It's a lifestyle, right? So don't beat yourself up. Just kind of replan and go for it. I think that's probably been the toughest thing with a growing toddler. Just making sure that I get time for me and my goals and where I want to be. And I think, what else would you say? I think when I started my new job, it was probably a challenge because in my old job I did maybe 25,000 steps a day. In my new one, it's a desk job, so I do 3.
Certain things changing,
Yeah,
I think
but
that's a big one,
That was really big for me because when I started my new job, I was 9 months into my journey.
Yeah.
So changing so drastically in the middle of your journey has a big impact on everything because I'm so programmed to our schedule and the way things work for us, and I always did my steps and I never really had to think about it. Whereas now, I make sure I go for afternoon walks at lunchtime. I finish a little bit earlier, so I make sure like on a Monday I walk to dance, I walk back. Getting walks at home, like just modifying your lifestyle a little bit to get that in. But I think that was a difficult switch for me because again, we're creatures of habit, right? 9 months is enough for me to say, oh, I don't need to think about my steps. But I suddenly had to make time to do these steps.
How do some of the old behaviours and habits come back to haunt you if they do? Are you still battling
Yeah.
the snacking? Are you still battling?
I think I will for a
Yeah.
while because it's so deep root, seated in me. It's always there, and my family snack a lot. And we're before we had Niall, we'd hardly go to my parents' house. But now that he's born, they pick him up and he spends Thursdays there, so we're there a bit more. So I'm exposed to fried food nearly three times a week, and it's hard to not, especially when you go to pick Niall up straight after the gym, you're starving,
hungry.
and you see all this food, and it's really hard not to just go, okay, I have to have a bit of this and a bit of this.
Yeah.
At the start, what I did was so in my batch book, I'd make wraps for my evening meal. I'd just take a wrap with me because I knew I was going to be hungry. So as soon as I get there, I see food and I get my wrap out and I'll just eat my dinner. And that really helped. And then until I got to a point where I was happy and confident enough to know I'm not going to snack there. But that is a constant, I would say. Still now, I still have to be quite aware of the fact that I will subconsciously try and reach for something or pick something up, and that's where he comes in. He'll just be like, stop, do not eat that. And I do have moments where I will reach.
Your family will tell me off.
Yeah, they will.
But I won't take it. I won't have any of it.
Yeah, they do. But now they also.
What do they say?
Let her eat. And
Really?
then in a somewhat jokey way, to be fair, they know what she's doing, to be honest.
At the same time,
In a jokey way, I say no, I'm being strict, and then we have a laugh and we carry on, to be fair.
There are times where they'll just hide, if they know I'm coming, they'll hide all the food.
Yes.
So it's not on display, they'll help like that, but obviously there's going to be times.
I think it's because of an association you've built on over the years.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just subconscious. It's really subconscious where I'll just go in and the table's there and I'll just.
There it is. Because it's a very social, food for them is a very social aspect. People come around, there's food, there's drink, water, whatever. But
there's 9 people in the family. From 3 to 6.
What are your siblings like in terms of their own health?
So they're very snacky as well.
Okay.
Out of all the siblings, I'd say I'm the most
snacky.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
But they do, obviously no one is, my family's not really a health conscious family.
Where do you think it all comes from? You guys being all snackers and
it's just
that struggle with food.
I think it's just, so I think we all maybe it's my grandma, because she was the person who made food for the family. She was a feeder. She used to love making different kind of foods. She was really passionate about cooking, and everything Indian is fried, especially when you're a vegetarian. It's mostly fried potato all the time, and I think that's probably where the association came in. And then when I went off to uni, and then uni friends there, and that's when I started eating excessively as well. And I think it's just the people I met in walks of life. So even though from a really long time, a good part of, since 2016, I really enjoy going to the gym. It became such a social thing for me. The food was never controlled. I would go to, like, I go to my PT session, and then I'd go to a spin class, and then I'd go home, kill a pizza. Like, that was my life on a daily.
Kill a pizza.
Yeah.
Easy.
Woman on a mission.
This,
Go on.
not just this whole snacking, from what I've also seen, it's the snacks happen when you're having a good time. It's a social thing. You're watching a film, let's get some popcorn out. We're playing a game of cards, let's get the budget out, let's go for it. So it's I'm not gonna lie, it's lovely food associated with a really, really good time. So then afterwards, when you're not even playing or watching a film, you're still gonna snack, because that association sort of happens, it's still there. And like I said, moderation, control, it's about just being conscious about what's happening. Enjoy the good times, and control yourself when every other time.
So outside the fact your handsome brother-in-law is in charge of R&T, what's kept you, what's actually made you follow R&T, and what have you liked about the process of R&T that's helped you get the results that you're looking for?
So for me, it's like, you find the golden goose that lays the golden egg. You know what I'm trying to say there, that you found the big prize. This is what I think everyone is trying to achieve, if that kind of makes sense. This is what I was trying to achieve for 15 years while I was putting on weight, if that kind of makes sense. It's not as easy as just going out there, putting a few things together. Oh, this works, and you keep the weight off. Well, not for me anyway. There are some people, I think, who do lose weight naturally because of high metabolisms or whatever, but I'm not one of those people. So I needed a structure, I needed something in place which I was kind of aware of. Thinking back, I was just talking to you about this the other day actually. When I was in my early 20s, I used to work in Birmingham, so that involved me walking to the train station, catching the train to Birmingham, walking to work, repeating that on the way back. I used to go to the gym 4 times a week. At that time, I was very conscious about what I used to eat. So maybe my protein wasn't where it needed to be, but my calories definitely were. And my weight was off. This was before that 15-year period I'm talking about, where I put on a lot of weight. My weight was where it was, and essentially, in a weird little way, I was kind of doing a sort of a semi-R&T process, kind of. All the key elements were there: the steps, the training, the cardio, the calories. But somewhere along the line, I stopped working in Birmingham. Steps went out the window. Somewhere along the line, I stopped going to the gym. That's the muscle training gone. Somewhere along the line, I stopped going for runs, maybe because of an injury or whatever. Then somewhere along the line, the food changed, and do you know what I mean? And ever since then, I've tried to when I've tried to lose weight, I only bring one of those elements back in, or 2 of those elements, thinking, oh brilliant, I'm dieting now, but there's no gym, there's no walking, there's no anything else, and it doesn't work. So what R&T has taught me is there's multiple things you need to be doing. It's a lifestyle. Like I said, it's a lifestyle. You need to follow it to get the best results, and then find your balance, essentially. So that's kind of what I found at the moment.
What way so?
So again, with me, it's a little bit different to him. As I said, I started my fitness journey a while ago, and I've actually signed up to loads of programs in the past. And I don't know if you remember, when he started, I looked at the R&T program, and I was like, I have never seen a program this structured, this good. Like, I don't know if you even remember me texting, but it's such a good program. It not only kind of like gives you a blueprint of what you need to do and the support to do it, but obviously you've got the lessons that you do on a weekly basis or 3 times a week. Like you're always learning something constantly, and more than that, it's the community as well. So like I remember, as I said, like about being a mum and feeling embarrassed about like wanting to do something better for myself. But with the community RNT gives you, there's so many other mums on there asking questions about how do you fit into your lifestyle, and the support from the other members, and just overall as a program, it covers everything. Where other programs, like even in terms of like with food, there's not a program that is this good for vegetarians or vegans. And I can say that I've tried like 3 or 4 in the past, and none of them are this good. So after I saw his, I was like, this is definitely the one for me, because if I'm going to actually be able to do this, this is the program that will give me the correct support that I need.
Amazing. Well, ways off.
Yeah, that same thing, isn't it? Works. I don't know what to say.
There you go.
It works.
It does work.
What about the RNT process has really worked for you? Which bits of it has really helped you specifically?
The exercise, it helped me a lot, because I've never ever done exercise before.
Yeah.
And also the food. I mean, I think you need is less oil, as you said. You know, everything. You know, you follow the plan. That really helps you. And every day it's like you can see the transformation, isn't it? You can see the difference, you know, when you go in the morning, when I put myself on the scale, I thought, really? You know, I go like that, and I thought, really? And you know, I have to look at twice, you know, honestly.
Yeah,
it works. So
Yeah.
if you follow really, so if I can do it, I think anybody can do it.
I like the fact that nothing's forbidden. It's just you do your own thing, and you make your own choices. And if I choose to wake up one morning, eat 7 waffles, and choose to starve the rest of the day, and that's my choice. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. But it shows you can physically see that this is what my meals are, and this is what I want to eat, and you can just you're not restricted, which means it's not in your brain.
There's parameters, not restrictions.
Yeah.
And I think that works better for me as well.
And it also fills your stomach as well. In the beginning,
So
when I
filling.
started, I was telling these, I said, look, I can't eat this. And I said, Mom, you have to. I said, I can't finish my meals. You know, it's so much food I have to eat. It's constant. So that was stopping me to eat snacks.
Yeah. That's a thousand.
Isn't it? Yes. And I was constant, like I was planned, like I knew what to eat during the day, like it was planned. But when I come home and I wasn't eating any snacks, wasn't I? And I said, I'm still full, you know. And then they said, but you'll have to eat, you know, even the vegetables you'll have to eat, you know. I said, yeah, so that really helps. I mean, you think, oh, too much food.
You're never hungry.
Yeah, you're never hungry, yes.
Yeah.
How's the physical been the vehicle for you so far?
It's been good. It's been a really good journey. I feel incredible. My knees don't hurt when I walk up the stairs. I can breathe. I just want to get stronger. And I think being on this journey has just shown me how much more I can achieve, and that excites me. So,
it's the little things like you kind of get used to being the way you are, like in terms of the fitness. And excuse me, you do take it for granted a little bit, like until you, like, recently I heard a friend say that he struggles to pick his 2-year-old up because little one's getting heavy. I haven't hit that yet. Now I need to pick him up. I can pick him up. I can walk, you know, miles with him if I wanted to without really getting tired, if that kind of makes sense. And I think there's a limit where at certain points you just can't do that when you've got this sort of 9-10 kg toddler on your arms. But I've got the ability to sort of take it a little bit further, not even realise. Do you know what I mean? Like, my back doesn't hurt, my legs don't hurt. Give him extra support that he needs. It's little things like that. When you hear it from someone else, you think, oh right, I can do that. I can do something you can't. And it is because I'm fitter, essentially. So yeah, it definitely pushes you through. It helps you do more things and achieve more goals, even when you don't realise it, to be honest.
And how's the physical been the vehicle for you?
Yeah, it's good, because when Niall comes here, I'm fit, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm playing with him, yes.
You do, yeah.
So that's great as well. So I never get tired with him.
Super grandma.
Yeah, she is. She is.
Right.
It's definitely got more energy than any of us. I've seen with now.
Yeah, 100%.
Constant.
No, you'll see us sitting on the sofa pretending we're not listening.
Yeah, tell me
Out,
about it.
doesn't it? Yes.
Yeah, she's been doing really good.
Good.
What just as closing sentiment, what almost kept you from starting this for you?
for me is I saw his journey and I was worried that I wouldn't be able to do it. So
Why?
because I just didn't believe in myself, to be honest. I was like, I can't. It was a food aspect, and I think that might be for a lot of people that they just doubt themselves. But again, it's, as I said, you just have to take it slowly. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. One step at a time. And the biggest thing I've learned is just tell the coaches if you're struggling with anything, and they'll just help you through it. And it's not as a big a deal as I ever thought it was. Yeah.
For me, it's actually the complete opposite. So where Pooja might have had a bit of a confidence, kind of, oh, I can't do this. For me, it was, oh, I've been training for 15 years. Yes, I've been putting on weight, but I've been training 15 years. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I don't need someone to tell me what to do. Does that kind of make sense?
The ego guy.
The ego guy, the know-it-all guy. Okay, you say what you want, to be fair, you can label it, but that's what it was. That's what it was. And like I said, as soon as you get on the program, everything is. I might have had all the puzzle pieces. To be fair, I might have had all the puzzle pieces, but the puzzle was not complete. The puzzle was not together, and that's what I think the program did for me. Put everything together, plus added those missing pieces. To create something that actually works. So that was the thing that would have stopped me from jumping on. Oh, I know everything. I don't need a PT. I don't need a lifestyle coach. I don't need a program.
I used to tell you so much.
You did, yeah.
I used to always tell him, I was like, you're getting big, you need to do
Really?
something, get
Why did you say
PT.
that?
He's like, no, I'm not. I know everything. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I can do it without.
So when you
Just
started
bulking,
it,
just bulking.
I'm just bulking. Yeah. The chocolate gateau cake. Yeah, I need the carbs. You know. Yeah.
I had a hard training session today. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's getting straight to my bicep.
It's going straight. Yeah, that's right. Too right. 6-pack.
How did you overcome the sort of like the belief and confidence bit? Because that's something I see a lot.
it was literally him just saying, no, you can. I'll support you through it.
Yeah.
It was part of me saying, I feel so miserable that if I don't do it, then I will never feel better about myself. So it was more of, I have to do it. It's what I want, so I should do it. And it was also, as Mum said, standing on that scale week 1 when I'd lost 2 kilos.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just keep on going.
It's true,
And
isn't it?
Yeah, it just
Feels better.
it's
feels
the
really
accountability.
good, yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's about being true to yourself and acknowledging this is where I was, and a week later this is where I am. So next week I can, if I push myself, I can be here. And again, week at a time.
What about you? I know you were a bit hesitant when I floated the idea to like say, oh, what do you think about this? And you were like, oh, come back to
Because
you.
we had 2 weddings coming on and I was a bit worried. I thought, what am I going to eat? Am I going to eat, this?
Yeah.
So, well, not just that as well, but it's just like, I thought, exercise. I was a bit scared about the exercise hours, wasn't I? And then they were saying, don't worry, we'll help you, we'll show you what to do and what not to do. I said, I'm not going gym. Well, I'm still not going gym. I can do it from home because I don't get time to go gym. So so I'm happy whatever I'm doing here.
So it's just more like, again, a confidence thing.
Confidence thing, yeah. So I'm happy whatever I'm doing at home, the exercise, it's working. So
Yeah. Fantastic.
Should do body pump next year.
She's doing bodybuilding next year.
I don't know what that is, but I'm learning. Every day I'm learning something new. So that's good.
So for those people who might be listening, thinking they want to finally achieve a transformation in 2023, what's the one piece of advice you can give them?
Don't stop yourself.
Just go for it.
Just
Be
go
brave
do
and go. Yeah, be brave and have a try, have a go.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's joining something like RNT will be like the best thing you can do, to be honest. They're there all the way to help you through. And then the rest will be history, to be honest. It's going to be a short period of time and you'll be the best version of yourself going forward.
I mean, I don't know if I say this, but at work, all my friends, they say, oh, every time they see me, they say, oh, you're disappearing on us now. Don't do it anymore, please. You're disappearing on. They always say every day they tell me that. And I said, it's all right. I'm doing fine. It's just I'm following what I have to do.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thanks for sharing the stories.
Yeah,
It's been a good, interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I just want to say I'm super proud of all of you guys for
Thank
achieving what you've set out to do.
Thanks to
And,
you for us.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see it unfold in front of my eyes. So thanks for believing in the process.
It's been a great process.
Definitely.
Thank you.